Welcome back to the Moms Ask Why podcast. I'm your host, Brittany Whitney. On Moms Ask Why, we challenge the norm surrounding motherhood and ask the questions that many of us are thinking but may be afraid to voice. Our mission is to educate, inspire, and empower mothers to reclaim their families and, most importantly, their children's health.
Today, we have the pleasure of interviewing Justin Gardner, CEO of Active Skin Repair, non-toxic and natural skin repair. Justin, thank you so much for coming on Moms Ask Why. We want to start with a why of the week. Neosporin is an antibiotic ointment. I would blindly use this, honestly, for years. Like anytime, kind of like Neosporin and Bactine was like what I grew up with was, my mom would say, go put Bactine or go put Neosporin on whatever cut that I got. We all know that, antibiotics essentially destroy the gut, and this is an antibiotic cream, Neosporin is. So dermatologists found that people who frequently use Neosporin can actually develop allergies later in life. Can you kind of explain, like, what is the difference between Neosporin and active skin repair, and why is a product like Neosporin, like, quote unquote, toxic for the skin, essentially?
Sure. So for Neosporin, you're using synthetic antibiotics, where active skin repair, we harness the same molecule that our bodies produce to be a powerful antimicrobial. So essentially, you're getting the same antibacterial, antimicrobial properties, but without using synthetic antibiotics. With Neosporin, you're using synthetic antibiotics like a neomycin. So neomycin is, I think it's around up to 20% of people have an allergic reaction to neomycin. So by using an antibiotic like that, a lot of people will have some type of allergic reaction. Those antibiotics, the synthetic antibiotics, can create an antibiotic resistance as well. And it's also they're put into a petroleum base. So with active skin repair, we're not using any petroleum. We're using, again, natural non-toxic ingredients, but having the same efficacy of a powerful antimicrobial. In fact, active skin repair's kill rate is better than Neosporin. So you're getting all of that same power, that same ability to kill off any foreign bacteria without introducing any toxic components, synthetic antibiotics, not taking the risk of allergic reaction.
I love your products. I swear, I was one step away, and I'm a crunchy mom. I was one step away from using steroid cream on my daughter's eczema, and I used active skin repair religiously, and it went away. And it was in the tough to reach spot right behind the knees, that crease of the legs. So thank you for creating such an amazing product. For those who are not familiar with active skin repair, can you tell us, dive deep, like what is active skin repair?
Yep. So the way I like to explain this, if you get cuts, scraped, any type of skin damage, even if it's a burn, a sunburn, your body's immune response is to send white blood cells to that injury. Inside the white blood cells is a molecule called hypochlorous acid. And that molecule does three main things. It's killing off any foreign pathogens. So it's a powerful antimicrobial. It's going to kill bacteria, fungi, and viruses. It also is helping the body reduce that inflammatory effect from that injury, and then also helping speed up that healing process. So it has that kind of regenerative component to it. What active skin repair is that same molecule our white blood cells produce. We're able to replicate it, stabilize it, and get it into a liquid and a gel formulation. So essentially, you're applying topically the same way your body's working internally. And we replicate that molecule in a clean room here in California by electrolyzing salt and water and getting it into a stabilized formulation. So it's really simple ingredients we use to replicate that molecule, non-toxic, clean, natural ingredients. So it's a really cool kind of way of being able to support that healing process, be able to reduce that risk of infection from any bacterial, and speed up that healing process without using synthetic chemicals, antibiotics, things of that nature.
Yeah.
You mentioned petroleum in, my initial question, and we've had other people come on and mention the same thing, that they don't like petroleum based. Why is that?
I think there's a lot of components to it. There was the EU banned petroleum for a while because they were getting it into their cosmetics or skincare ingredients, it was not a clean petroleum. There's a lot of data that has come out to say that it's a hormone disruptor. And so, I don't think that it's a terrible ingredient, but if you don't need to use it, it would be kind of one of those that I would recommend not using if you don't need to.
Got it. So you worked for a healthcare startup. You spent a lot of time in the burn unit. Active skin repair is more effective than repairing burns than Neosporin. And that is because of it's I mean you said the ingredients. It's essentially two ingredients. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's you're electrolyzing salt and water to mimic that molecule hypochlorous acid. So everything is just around that kind of process and those ingredients that you find in active skin repair. You're right. So my background has always been working in healthcare, and I actually helped launch this molecule into the hospital system. So that's kind of where I discovered the molecule and how I founded active skin repair and ended up bringing it to the market over the counter and being able to use our FDA clearance to make it available to everyday consumers. But on the hospital side, whether it's in a surgical, like in an intensive care unit, surgical suite, or even in like dermatology, you just don't see physicians anymore recommending something like a Neosporin for all those reasons that I just went to. Dermatologists hate it because of the allergic reaction. So you just from a clinician side, it's really just stayed alive. It's a pretty archaic technology, and it's stayed alive a lot just from everyday consumers who are just used to using it and don't know that there's alternatives out there. When you're dealing with a hypochlorous acid in something like an intensive care burn unit, also having a liquid solution is a really good option as opposed to an ointment where with those really bad burns, you're not wanting to touch the skin. So you're able to use that liquid formulation to help reduce that chance of infection, which they're at a high risk of infection when you have somebody in intensive care burn unit.
Yeah, and you mentioned that active skin repair is FDA cleared. Are most hypochlorous acid sprays FDA cleared, or does that set you guys apart?
It definitely sets us apart. So it's been wild to watch. Hypochlorous acid is a very trendy ingredient right now. It kind of caught a lot of fire in the TikTok world, and people using it as a everyday facial mist, and it works great on acne and a whole bunch of other everyday skin health issues. And so it really has grown a lot of awareness. Most of those products, I would say 95% of them don't have that FDA clearance. They're regulated as a cosmetic. And the difference there is for us, we have the indications and clearance to use in open skin, where those products don't. We fall under a very different kind of regulatory structure that's much stricter, as you can imagine. So we use the same process for our product that we use for when we ship it into a surgery, right? So anything that we're using and providing into hospital systems is the same process we use for active skin repair. And what that does is it really ensures that you have a efficacious product. So every single lot that we produce, we test to make sure it's doing what we say. So the efficacy there and safety is there. It stays in a very small pH range. So a lot of times what will happen with hypochlorous acid, it's a very kind of finicky molecule, is you can have the pH range on those products vary quite a bit. And you don't want that. You want it to stay around a 5, 6 pH. And we know that our product can stay within that range for that 2-year period that we have our shelf life in. And that really gives you kind of that sense of security that you're using a product that is very validated clinically and tested robustly before we ever ship it out. And we're also, one other thing that's really unique about us is we're fully vertically integrated. So we own our whole manufacturing facility based here in California, all ISO certified clean room. So when you go in, it is, people in spacesuits making the product, and everything allows us to have that quality control before we produce anything. Where a lot of products out in the market are just using contract manufacturers where they're just slapping a label on it, where we own that whole process. We're audited by the FDA. Again, a lot of, if you can imagine sending a product into a surgery, you have to have all the kind of I's dotted and T's crossed.
Yeah, Brittany and I actually did some research on where, Neosporin and all of the other like Procter and Gamble, Johnson and Johnson products are made. They're all made in China, which I'm sure you knew, but like our listeners probably don't know that because Brittany and I didn't know that before, we started researching so that we could ask you, these great questions about your amazing product. Um, so yeah, just it's super unique that your product is crafted in California. The quality is incredible and overseen by an incredible team. So when also I want parents to know like when they are buying your product, it is going towards someone who actually cares and a non-toxic product. And I was gonna say earlier, like every mom should run to grab this before summertime so that they have it for sunburns, because I feel like that is one of the biggest pieces to the summertime is like, what do we put on our sunburns? I get that question all the time. And it sounds like active skin repair would be a great replacement for anything else that
On
you.
that,
Can you hear us?
Should I pause it, Brett?
I don't know.
So your company is super unique because it's manufactured and created in California, and a lot of people don't know this about like Johnson and Johnson products, Procter and Gamble. When Brittany and I were researching all of these options for non-toxic skincare, obviously a lot of these are not non-toxic like active skin repair is. They're all actually crafted in China, which I had no idea. I'm sure you know that, but moms should know like when they are supporting your business, it's going to a product that's made in California in the United States. It's also non-toxic. I think this is a phenomenal swap for anything when you have, eczema. I mean, can you list kind of all of the areas that moms can use this, like sunburns, eczema, cuts and scrapes? Like, what else can we use this product for?
sure. Yeah, so we actually joke we call it the WD-40 of skin repair, where it's just like you can use it on, or if you've ever seen My Big Fat Greek Wedding, it's the Windex, right? Like you can just use it on so many different things. And the reason is, again, we're kind of harnessing that molecule from our immune system, so it's just so versatile and multifunctional. The safety profile on it too is the same as saline solution. So you can spray it in your around your eyes, ears, mouth. There's no issues with doing that. So you have something that's so safe, can be used in every aspect or every part of your body without any kind of risk of any type of reaction. And that, those factors that I talked to before, the fact that it's an antimicrobial, the fact that it helps reduce inflammation and calm skin and speed up that natural healing process, makes it work on sunburns are inflammation, bug bites are inflammation. So a lot of times people love our product for bug bites, especially in the summer when the mosquitoes come back. That's an inflammatory process when you get bit by a bug. So it helps with kind of those everyday issues. It helps with eczema. There's a lot of components to eczema. One of the things that I always like to tell people is it's a great first line therapy. So it might not work. It's certainly not going to cure your eczema. It's going to help some of the symptoms around it potentially. But because it has that safety profile, because it's non-toxic, it's a great first line option before you move to like a steroidal treatment. And if it works, then awesome. You found a very safe and efficacious way to kind of deal with some of those flare-ups without having to use a steroid.
Yeah, which side note, any mom listening with who has a child with eczema, typically that is gut related. So look into the gut before you go to a steroid cream of any sort.
Mm.
Use active skin repair and use food as medicine. That's what I would say for eczema.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
so true. Anti-inflammatory diet plus active skin repair. Try it
Totally.
first.
Elite combo.
It is. Yeah, I love that literally active skin repair kills germs, 99% of bacteria in 15 seconds. And I'm not kidding when My daughter, it was her first year of preschool, and she was getting sick all the time to the point where I pulled her out of school for a month because I was like, I can't take this. I had a 3-month-old at home who was then getting sick. And then I started to send her back, and I would spray active skin repair on her face before she went into the classroom. And upon exiting in the car, I would spray it on her face. And she would just close her eyes. And I swear that kind of helped stop all the preschool germs from getting everywhere.
Yeah, yeah, and it does work. Like, I mean, so many things are bacterial germ related, right? So if you can be able to have a solution like that on hand, it really does help kind of prevent potentially issues that can be from bacteria.
Yeah. And Justin, you're a father. How has being a father kind of inspired you to live a more non-toxic life?
Yeah. So the from being a father, you know, it's funny too when we grew up. I'm a grew up in 80s, 90s as a kid, and it's just a different time. You know, I certainly had Neosporin put on me, but we were also eating, you know, the big thing were the TV dinners, right? All the processed food coming out. And so I think we just have a different knowledge set now as parents than our parents did. And I think that information and that knowledge is really powerful and helps kind of shape how I think about what I feed my daughter, what I put on my daughter's skin, and really making sure that I'm doing everything I can to give her kind of a foundation of health, so that as she grows, she has can really live that healthy life that, you know, I think as a parent, I have that power to really help build that foundation. I also, from a toxicity side, the I look at it a lot like compounding, right? So I'm a big fan of if you look at investing, right? The power of compounding over time if you've invested in a 401k or something like that. But it also can be in a different way compounding in toxic things, which is bad, right? So you know, you're not going to be able to eliminate every toxic thing in the house, but if you can make swaps that are especially easy swaps to make, from cleaning materials to skincare, those are really easy things that just are going to make sure that those toxic ingredients aren't compounding, and every little bit does, I believe, does help.
Does this trickle to like every aspect of your life? Like, do you guys do swaps for like Tylenol? Are you swapping to like Genexa and Highlands? Or like talk to us a little bit like what's under your cabinet in your home as far as being like a leader really in like the non-toxic quote unquote medicine space, right? Like, does that translate in all
So
areas?
we're not perfect by any means, my wife and I. But those that Genex is a great example, right? Like that's a pretty easy way to get a slightly cleaner um, medicine. And same thing, I mean, especially in cleaning materials and detergents and like what you're spraying around your house all day. I think those are really, I mean, there's a lot of great non-toxic cleaning supplies these days that
Which ones
work
are you
really
guys
well. And
using?
it's a really easy way to get that, you know, make that change without making a huge um, lifestyle change as well.
Which ones do you guys use?
We love branch basics.
Yeah,
I think
that's always a fan favorite for sure.
it's, you know, also too, I like to support companies that I believe in. We actually talk to Branch Basics all the time. We swap kind of best practices that we're doing within the space, and we have a great relationship with them. So it's a great product, but they're also a great brand. And the founder story was a really powerful founder story, which I tend to gravitate to. And if I can support businesses that are, you know, a better product, a non-toxic swap, and then also people that I think are good people, that's a no-brainer for me.
Yeah, I think Allison is going to come on the podcast soon and I mean talk about like an inspirational story and such an amazing product that if families can afford it, they should have under their kitchen cabinet. Um, so I kind of want to talk about, well, Chelsea, this might be a good question for you to ask, but kind of how kids take longer sometimes to detox out toxins. And
Yeah.
So go
Yeah,
ahead.
I mean, I'm sure you're going there, Britt, with like the MTHFR gene mutation. Justin, are you familiar with like how, kids that are on the spectrum, number one, I have two boys that struggle to detox out. And so that's kind of what started my non-toxic journey and finding things like active skin repair and branch basics even, right? Like that was my goal is like I didn't want my kids having even more to detox out because the toxins take longer to get out of their body. And that's essentially what describing in a nutshell what the MTHFR gene is an inability or a weaker ability to methylate. Um, can moms make the switch to something that is way less toxic, um, that's going to be like a cheap hack for moms? So can this be like hand sanitizer, bug bite spray? Like you mentioned, you said it was like the WD-40 of what? Like, would it be like,
Oh, skin repair, right? But the hand sanitizer, yes, it's a powerful antimicrobial, so it's going to work the same thing as an alcohol-based antibacterial. So we use it, especially when we're traveling, like on airplanes and stuff. Same thing. I'm spraying my daughter's face, her hands. You can actually spray down toys, especially with young little kids that have a tendency to put things in their mouth. You can spray that down as well. So it works as a for when you're trying to travel light, it's an amazing hack to have because you're probably going to, you're dealing with all the bacterial issues of traveling, and then you're probably going someplace where you might get sun, you might get, even in winter, it works amazing on windburn. So if you're out skiing or
oh, I didn't even
snowboarding,
think about that.
windburn's inflammation. So after I'm done a day on the slopes, I'll spray my face. So it works just in anything that's an inflammatory bacterial issue. It can't hurt. I don't always know if it will help. It helps a lot, but it certainly can't hurt. And that's one of the real kind of powers of the product and the molecule is it does no harm. It's not toxic. It doesn't have any allergic reaction. Yada yada.
So for moms listening, like this can be replaced for Benadryl gel. That's something I used to keep under my cabinet all the time. I like needed to have Benadryl gel. Neosporin, Bactine, hand sanitizer, aloe vera, right? I know aloe vera can be natural, but I'm sure a lot of aloe veras out there have food dye in it. I guarantee you they have blue one in aloe vera. So this would be a phenomenal replacement. Off bug spray, right? Like the one of the most toxic things that we can put on our body. So yeah,
Yeah, and
a little cheap
I
hack for
love
moms.
I love to earlier you mentioned acne. And I think a lot of moms postpartum or even during their pregnancy struggle with obviously hormonal changes and that unexpected acne that comes with that. Can you tell us how active skin repair helps with acne?
Acne is P. acne, so it's a bacteria. And so by having it be a powerful antimicrobial that can kill P. acne, we have fantastic people will give us fantastic case studies of how it's worked on acne. And I think that's really where through social media it's got a lot of traction because acne is one of those too that's such a visual one. If you're able to treat the acne, there's great before and afters, which I think just really created that buzz through social media is having so many great case studies with it. And again, because it's got the same safety profile, saline solution, you can be spraying it around your eyes and mouth and stuff and not be worried about it.
Yeah,
Justin, are you guys on TikTok Shop? Is that what you mentioned when you said it was kind of going viral on TikTok or?
We are not on TikTok Shop. The which going into next week might be a good thing, but the
I know. I was just thinking, like, is that going to be so detrimental for you guys? Because apparently TikTok's leaving in 2 days when we're filming this right now.
thankfully, it won't impact us. We're not up there. We sell primarily through our website and through Amazon.
Oh,
And
Amazon. Okay, good to know. I think a lot of people like the really convenient aspect of Amazon. So when you're on Amazon, it's like such a game changer for moms.
I always tell people that when you get to a certain point of reviews in Amazon, you can't be lying. I say, go read the reviews. First of all, there is a million things on there that I never even thought about using our product for that people provide reviews on. I think we're at like over 5,000 5-star reviews. So it just the the product works, so we get great reviews, but it's also a great resource to just see how everybody's using it as well. But yeah, Amazon's a big one
Oh,
for us
that's a good
on
point.
website.
And you guys are in some stores. I know where I live, Mother's Market is a really big health store that carries your product. You have a store locator on your website, but are you in some of the major ones that people who are listening, like are you in Whole Foods? Can you kind of name some of the stores that you are physically in?
We are Mother's Market is a great one. We're in a lot of higher end natural grocery stores. So we don't know retail isn't our priority. And a lot of that is just from a business side. Wound care, like first aid, isn't the best shelf in a store. It's where a lot of people just don't. And our product does so much more than just first aid that it's a little tough to find a spot within kind of that store system. And so we really have focused our efforts in being direct to consumer, either through our website or through Amazon.
So you don't have any goals to like eventually be in Rite Aid or CVS or Albertsons or any of those? No.
No, I mean, I looked at it a lot when we first started the company, and let's take Rite Aid, Walgreens, CVS, one of those big box pharmacies. If you go in there, it's just the wound care kind of first aid section is just not a great place to be. It's commoditized, toxic products. It just didn't feel like that's where our brand fit. And there's so much of a need for educational component around how, because of the thousand different ways to use the product, it worked just better to be able to sell online where we could do that education, where we could have testimonials, where we can have reviews. So retail just always kind of posed the problem because of where it fits within retail.
Absolutely. Okay, you were saying womb care, right? For wombs. I thought you were saying woo care. So for anybody else who maybe is not familiar with that terminology, because that's not something I hear every day. I'm sure, Justin, you are constantly hearing womb care, right? With
Wound, right? Wound.
wound. Yes,
Wound
not
care.
womb. Wound. Oh
No.
my
I
gosh,
was like,
wound.
wait, what?
Or cuts and scrapes. Like I don't know where my brain was going. It was going to womb care. And I was like, what? Okay. Anybody
Um,
else who was just as ditzy as me listening?
so as we mentioned, you are really disrupting the billion-dollar skin repair industry. Did you guys face any challenges bringing active skin repair to the market and up and running? Like how long did it take from idea to product to launching it into the world?
So the hypochlorous acid, the molecules existed for a while. It's only in the last decade or so have we been able to get it to stabilized, be able to bottle it and put it into and have a 2 year shelf life to it. Before the shelf life was literally hours when you made it. So that real technological breakthrough came in being able to stabilize the molecule. We have a larger parent company that has all the medical device registration that has really allowed us. It is not, if you can imagine, not easy having and staying in compliance with all the things that go into being an FDA regulated product. So that has been a real ability to have all of that dialed in and allow us to just focus on raising awareness around the product and all the different ways that it can work.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I love too how before you were mentioning bee stings, bug bites, like I get the worst. And when I say the worst, something like the bugs love my skin, my bug bites blow up to probably an unhealthy size. And active skin repair completely saved me last year. So thank you for that.
Yeah, and you asked a question about being a father. When I first started the company, I didn't have my daughter at the time, and I used it. I'm an avid surfer and mountain biker and outdoorsman, and I would use it on all those reef cuts and scrapes. But thankfully that's not a daily issue. Once I became a father, and if you have kids, and I have a 3 year old daughter right now, the skin issues are literally daily, if not like every few hours. I mean, so you have with diaper rash, that's a bacterial issue, right? So it works amazing on diaper rash. So every time we change our daughter, we put a little active spray on it just to make sure that there's not a bacterial colonization, which can create that rash there. And so it works great. I mean, she's walking now, and she'll start to run and scrape on the knee, right? There's hand, foot, and mouth. There's all those
Oh,
different
hand, foot, mouth is a
skin
really good
issues,
one.
bacterial issues, viral issues. Again, it is something where with little kids, you're like, wow, this is something that it's not when something bad goes, but it's just the daily kind of care and skincare that you need.
Yeah, and I was laughing when you were describing it like the Windex in my big fat Greek wedding because that's honestly how I use it. And I forgot last summer my son had the worst diaper rash. He had like it was like a fungal, something was going on. And I sprayed active skin repair. Can you explain the layering? Like if a parent wants to layer a diaper cream with active skin repair, should they do active skin repair first? Should they do diaper cream first? How does that work?
Yeah, it's a great question. The way the molecule works is you're gonna want to use the spray first. So it only takes 15, you referenced the kill time. So what we know is for the molecule to be absorbed and kill that bacteria, it takes 15 seconds. So spray it on, all you got to do is wait 15 seconds. And then we're usually using some type of balm on top of that. So you can layer other products, and I recommend layering other products because it doesn't active doesn't create any type of barrier. It actually can be a little drying too. So sometimes balms are really nice kind of addition to using that. Same thing in using it as like a facial spray, it can be a little drying. So then we recommend using like a hyaluronic acid with it to create that hydration moisturization.
Yeah. And you guys are in California. Obviously, that's where you guys manufacture and make everything. Um, how has it been like where do you guys know are you like selling out in California versus in the middle? Like where do you guys sell most of your products? Or is it
So
like a
yeah,
yeah.
it's California and Texas are our two biggest states now, population wise, but people ask us a lot of what does our customer look like? And I always say it's the Whole Foods mom. It's a woman who usually has one plus kid and really is very cognizant of ingredients and really doing research and wants to provide kind of the optimum care for their kids and really values again that non-toxic living. The where you've seen it really change in from California and New York to we sell a lot in the middle of the country now, in places like Utah and Texas, where I think that non-toxic living has really grown a lot. I think people are just way more aware now. There's a lot more ability through the internet and social media to really learn about kind of the products that people are using, whether it's bad or good, and that awareness has really spread across the country and isn't just geographical anymore.
Yeah, and we've seen that happen with Kellogg's, right? Like people are starting to vote with their dollar and it's making a difference. So I think it's so exciting for moms who are, crunchier to kind of see this wave happening.
And it is a weight. I mean, it is really wild on how much information and how it is changing regardless of geographical, political, socioeconomic factors. Like it's just happening across all those areas.
Yeah, 100%. Okay, Justin, can we do some rapid fire questions? We like to kind
Sure.
of end each interview just so people get to know you a little bit better. Okay, what is your favorite Band-Aid brand?
In our house, we use patch.
We use
Um,
that too.
yeah, we love it. My daughter right now has a weird obsession with wanting to put Band-Aids on. So it's become a somewhat expensive
Yes.
effect. But we love patch.
I call Band-Aids expensive stickers because
Yeah.
my kids have like that same weird obsession. I have to hide them. And it's so funny you said that. And a lot of parents don't realize too that Band-Aids have microplastics in them.
Yeah, the PSA.
So that's another one, maybe a partnership in the future for you guys. Multivitamins, do you guys use them with your kids?
We don't. You know, we try and do. I can see the value of having it. We try to do as much whole foods as we can, plant-based foods. Um, my daughter loves smoothies, so we can do like kale smoothies and stuff, and get a lot of those nutrients and vitamins in through that.
100%. What's your favorite sunscreen brand?
We love Think. I don't know if you've ever heard it's Think Baby, Think Sport, and the founders of that company are friends of mine that I've known for forever, and they were really one of the OGs of the non-toxic sunscreen space. So I think they really pioneered. They brought it into Whole Foods. They really helped pioneer that. I've always been a fan of them and the brand and the product itself. We are also coming out with a sunscreen this summer too, so we're going to do our own non-toxic
Oh my
sunscreen.
gosh,
So
amazing.
So
soon enough,
excited.
we're in formulation. It takes years to get the right formulation. The other thing that we're doing that I think is a great resource for your listeners as well is Environmental Working Group, EWG. I don't know if you've ever heard of EWG, but they have a
Oh, yeah.
website called Skin Deep. You can type in the ingredient in Skin Deep. They also have something that's called the EWG verification. And so we're putting all of our products, every single thing that comes to market now through the EWG verification. So you know that all of our ingredients are clean ingredients. They've gone through that verification, which is a stringent verification, but it's a every like when we're looking at introducing new products into our house, we type it in EWG. I'll go through the ingredient list. It's a great resource to kind of know what you're putting on your skin.
100%. When I was, thinking about starting a family, that was my holy grail. I
Yeah.
literally, like, I was clean, but when I look back, I wasn't really all that clean. I would scan everything, I would type everything in because I knew that the products I was using would get to my baby. And, so that's 100%. And I love their tap water database. Where you put in your, for all the moms listening, you can go on EWG, put in your zip code. It's free and it spits out all of the harmful stuff. Or then, maybe your zip code's great. Mine's awful.
It
But
gives
that's
you like a number of how, like between I
yeah.
think like 1 and 20, right, Britt? You're the one that
Yeah.
showed me
Yeah,
that
it is
website.
such a great hack for parents too. But I love the EWG. Wait, so for the sunscreen, is it going to be stick? Is it going to be like rub on? Tell us about the sunscreen. I'm so excited.
Cool. So we're doing one that will be we're gonna do a few different, we're gonna do an everyday daily facial moisturizer, which will have hyaluronic acid, niacinamide, a few really cool, powerful ingredients. Will be zinc based, so non-toxic. A lighter kind of everyday sunscreen. We're gonna do a kid's stick for myself, kind of biased. I love the sticks for my daughter and tend to work well. And then we're also going to do a tube performance, which are both going to be the kid stick and the tube kind of performance one will be water resistant as well. So all of those
Amazing.
should be coming. Again, we're working through all the regulatory and we finalized the formulation. So now it's just the regulatory side. So hopefully this summer.
That's amazing. And you guys, Justin generously gave us a code MOMS20 for 20% off. So, go check it out, vote with your dollar. And Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. This was so cool to learn more about one of our favorite brands.
Well, thank you for having me. This is fun.
Justin, where can we find you and your brand and all of that? Instagram handles, website?
Yep. Instagram is Active Skin Repair. So all you have to do is type in Active Skin Repair into um, the Google machine, Instagram, will pop on up. Our website is activeskinrepair.com, and then if you type it into Amazon, you'll see all of our products populated.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much, Justin. And thank you to our listeners. Check us out. Drop your email at www.momsaskwhy.com. Follow us on Instagram at momsaskwhy, TikTok at momsaskwhy podcast. And as always, follow, rate, and review Moms Ask Why now on Apple Podcast, Spotify, or wherever you listen to your podcasts.